Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Showcase 2030. This is our two-day amazing action-packed experience where we're going to be exploring and celebrating sustainable tech ecosystem at and around EPFL. My name is Dan Ram, and it's my joy and honor to be a host and MC. Yes, I wish we could do this in person, but welcome to our beautiful virtual set, our home for the next 2 days. Whether you are an impact-driven startup, a researcher, a leading professor, student, partner, investor, whoever you are so welcome. It's amazing to have you here. So why are you here? Because we're going to be showcasing disruptive, innovative entrepreneurial solutions that address the most challenging issues of our time. And so with that, for our formal invitation and welcome, I'm very excited to welcome onto the stage. I guess in some ways she's an expat in her own country. She spent 20 years in Silicon Valley and Asia, everything from open innovation, startups, telecom IT industry, life sciences. She's got a PhD in physics from EPFL. She is the Vice President for Innovation. Please welcome onto the screen, Ursula, over to you.
Thank you, and welcome to all of you to the second edition of this showcase. The first time it happened in 2019 with around 500 participants physically here at the EPFL campus. Sadly, last year we had to cancel it, but we're so happy to be back in 2021 with all the great work and all the great research we have. It's a new format, as Dan mentioned, it's virtual. But virtual also has its positive side, and we hope everyone will have fun. What's really unique this year is that we have a very diverse profile of participants. Okay, it goes from students to investors, researchers, industry people, government, NGOs. It should be very fascinating to mingle and meet new people. So the Tech for Impact has a mission to unleash ripe technology and research from the lab to have impact on the market and contribute to the SDGs. The question is, where is this tech and science ready to be unleashed? So some of it is actually sitting in the lab that has just nobody has thought about it, what to do with it. So it's actually ready to be deployed for sustainable solutions. And this is where the entrepreneurs and these kind of initiatives like the Tech for Impact drive. On the other side, there's also a lot of tech and science in startups or in R&D labs that we can repurpose, okay, for a sustainable solution. So there are many sources. It's just finding the right thing and then actually spinning it out. Now, to spin it out and to have real scalable impact, this is where it gets complicated. And this is a joint effort of multiple diverse stakeholders, which is basically you. And that's why we're so happy to see so many and such diverse people here. These 2 days, the goal of these 2 days is to nurture the Tech for Impact ecosystem, where students, researchers, and entrepreneurs can showcase to investors, NGO, governments, and corporate players, and of course, everyone else who is interested in willing to support sustainable causes. We try to make a very diverse program, have different formats to showcase these solutions, whether it's short talks, whether it's actual real case studies, fireside chats, round tables, meet experts. We have some master classes or even one-on-one meetings. Now, what is really important, of course, and why most of you come is for the networking, the serendipitous encounters, the mingling, the interaction. So we did build in a lot of events and some things already sent out early for you to watch ahead of time so you can figure out who you want to meet. So please mingle. Thank you for joining this event. It's only thanks to your effort and your support that we can address these most pressing challenges of our time. So we, from the Tech for Impact and the innovation team at EPFL, are of course here to support you in any way you can. Please reach out to us even after the event. Now, I wish you lots of inspiration, creativity, networking, and most important, fun. I mean, innovation should be fun because it's passion that drives success. Enjoy, and I look forward to seeing new sustainable development coming out of the work and the collaboration that happened these 2 days. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ursula. I'm going to take those 4 pillars. You ended by saying inspiration, creativity, networking, and fun. Is that correct? So let's try to do that, especially in a virtual setting, because one of the benefits of virtual is we can be really diverse. I want to get to you, the amazing audiences watching right now. In the meanwhile, can you go to the comment section just while I'm introducing our next lightning talk, our next speaker, can you go to the comment section and just drop in where you're watching from? Because then we can do a little interaction. But let me invite up next a dear friend of mine. She's amazing. She's one of the most talented, educated people I know. She's got a master's from a university in Edinburgh. She's got a PhD in economics, I believe, from a university in Munich. She's got the Bavarian Culture Prize for the best PhD thesis just a couple of years ago. She also won the Best Emerging Scholar Paper Award at the World Open Innovation Conference quite recently, actually. She's amazing. And I cannot wait to bring her onto the screen. Please welcome, from Tech for Impact, Julia. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Dan, and a very warm welcome also from the entire Tech for Impact team. We at our team here, we have been working very hard to bring you, as Dan mentioned, the most exciting and the most best virtual experience possible. So our team has been working here for several days now, and this is the first virtual edition, actually, that we're running this showcase event. The first edition, we had so much fun hosting 600 people at our Rolex, and we wanted to bring this back. We wanted to have it even bigger. We rented the entire Swiss Tech Convention Center here in Switzerland to welcome all of you, and now we had to go virtual. But we wanted to make the very best out of it. And actually, I think we're getting close there, because what we wanted to do, instead of bringing all of you together, we are now inviting the entire world. And I believe we have participants literally from all different continents now live streaming and now live watching the event, which I think is also a very important achievement. But maybe you're wondering, what is Tech for Impact about? And I think I want to start with why are we here? Why are we doing what we're doing? And I very much like the work of Banksy, who usually doesn't need a lot of words to actually express let's say a political but also societal criticism. And here he actually uses some words, because many art experts actually believe that this is really used very purposefully, because he wants to say there's no time to even trying to interpret pictures anymore. The subtlety needs to end. We need to be very explicit now. The time to act is now. If we want to change something, we need to act now. This is actually the logo here on the picture is from Extinction Rebellion, who really pressured the London regime back then in 2019 to go net zero in 2025. And I believe that COVID, to some extent, has put a pause on many of our sustainability efforts. And I think this pause is not justified, because, again, the time is running out. And if we want to keep many of the species that we're still having on our planet, if we want to keep our resources, if we want to halt and pause climate change, then we really need bold innovation, we need systematic changes. And this is why Tech for Impact has been put into place. Because we believe that as a university, particularly in Switzerland, we can provide a multi-stakeholder platform to really convene different people from all different walks of life, like all of you that are now here live, to actually provide this collaborative platform to rethink how we collaborate, to rethink how we do innovation, and to rethink our products and services that are currently on the market. So we are all about building bridges with International Geneva, building bridges with the governments, with companies, helping and supporting entrepreneurs. This is our daily bread and butter. And just to give you an impression of our most thematic areas, we work a lot with our entrepreneurs here on campus. These are our researchers who want to spin out their technology from the lab to the market. This is not an easy endeavor, actually, because having a technology that is then creating some market traction is actually quite difficult. And to have it successful, this is where we come in to support them. We also, and you probably met some of our Impact founders already. We have the Impact Investor Day this morning. If you haven't had the chance, we also have a virtual startup exhibition where we showcase 16 selected impact-driven startups. I very much encourage you to check them out. They're here all afternoon for you live, but we also have the videos the entire day tomorrow as well. So please check our virtual startup exhibition. It's actually a very engaging format, thanks to our colleagues from Innosuisse. Then we have Tech for Dev. And Tech for Dev is, for me, one of the lighthouse projects. And you will learn more about this project tomorrow morning when it's all about entrepreneurship in emerging markets. Tech for Dev actually is where we help, with the help of the development corporation, Swiss Development Corporation, we want to bring EPFL technologies to the global south, to the markets where really solutions are desperately needed. But we want to rethink how this is usually done. We want to actually strive for new ways to collaborate. We want to build capacity on site, and we want to build really smart technological solutions to actually address these problems. And you will hear more about this tomorrow. We have a circular tech initiative, which, as the name implies, is all around how can we use data and technology to actually achieve the promise of the circular economy. And then we have our Student Leaders Program, a hard project that you will just hear in a couple of minutes from Ale, my colleague, who will talk more about our Changemakers and other initiatives that we have to actually empower our students, which we believe is a very, very important source for the future, who are our Changemakers, if you want. And this is where we put a lot of our efforts as well. Now, this edition is actually one edition where we said, it has been a time of social distance, of a time of isolation. And this was something hard for everyone, hard for us as well. And we say, we're better together. We have such a strong ecosystem. So this edition is all about the power of partnership. And I want to really thank to all our partners who are now participating here today and tomorrow, who offer multitude of workshops. I think it's really incredible. We have almost 25 workshops, very engaging hands-on workshops. You can still register now, although they're actually very full already. But we have some places left. And I encourage you to make use of this precious ecosystem that we brought together. And a very, very big thank you to all our partners. This event here in this form that we are now running it would have not been possible without all your support, with all your dedication and all your efforts. Now, this is the team, the Tech for Impact team. It's actually not a gender issue that I put the females first, but these are actually, all the females are working full-time. And then we're happy to count on the support of Dabor, as well as Antoine and Gregory, our interns. Dabor is our freelancer, and Antoine and Gregory, our interns. They all have worked countless hours to actually make this event happening. None of us is actually an experienced event organizer, and we still hope to offer you the best virtual event experience possible. And with that, I hand over back to you, Dan, in the studio. We believe change could also be a chance, and we hope that you agree. And we wish you a very, very pleasant event experience. Thank you so much.
All right, Julia, thank you so much. Hopefully you can see me and hear me pretty soon. So we've got a lot going on here at this wonderful conference. And like Julia said, there's a lot to look forward to. As Ursula said as well, we have a lot to look forward to: lightning rounds, round tables, impact cases, and so much more. But for a moment, because we kind of dove into this, didn't we, with all this content, I want to pause and say, it's good to have you here. Thank you for being a part of this. And I want to make this as interactive as possible. We have a few ways. We've heard about the networking. We've heard about some of the master classes that can happen. But right here on this main screen, I'd love to create a space where we can create some dialogue. As I bring speakers up, you will have a chance to actually ask questions. So right now, let's test that out. So let me just show you real quick a few things that we can do. So as far as engagement goes, Showcase 2030, that's where we're at. But one thing is social media. So whether you prefer using Twitter or Facebook or YouTube or LinkedIn, whatever the platform is, use hashtag Showcase 2030. I actually made a couple Insta stories right before this. If you're curious how we did this and how we made this virtual set, you can check that out. And always tag EPFL Tech for Impact so we can see it. Write a little blog about what you're learning, make a little video, take a selfie with one of our speakers on your screen and share it with us. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, let us make this interactive. There is a comment section. Technically, it says Q&A. It's a Slido integration. And so you have, for most computers, I believe it is on that side of the screen. I think. It doesn't matter. You're smart enough to find out where the comment section is. If you're on a tablet or a phone, it could be below you, as it is on my device right now. But why don't you drop in the comment section why you're here? What are you hoping to gain? What value are you hoping to get? What are you hoping to learn? So I see a couple comments already coming in. Eve says inspiration. We've got one that says learning about the different initiatives related to impact entrepreneurship at EPFL. We've got Hilda that says turning technological innovation into actionable change for our society. That's a good one. Gregory says sustainable barriers. Interesting. Alessandra says, hello from Zurich. I'm here for inspiration and to learn about how to translate impact-driven projects to the market. I see Emma says perspective, which is fantastic. What else do we have? Let's see. Carol just mentioned here, get some ideas to achieve impact. So we've got some great comments already coming in. As much as possible, I want to include that. And especially when we have our speakers, including the next one coming up, I want to get your questions in rather than mine. We've also got greetings from Geneva, looking to bridge science and economics for impact. And that comes from Derek. Good. We have a large Swiss crowd. I'm wondering if you have anyone else from outside of Switzerland. Samuel says, learn and take notes for sustainable future choices. Excellent. Well, we're going to try to capture all of that, as much of that as possible. The most important thing right now that makes me feel good is that you're here with us. Again, in another world, post-pandemic and certainly pre-pandemic, we'd be able to see you, make sure you're engaged. Now, the best way to see you is to see your comments. So please drop them in. Let us know when you agree, when you disagree, what questions you have, and all of that. The other thing is, even though we only have an hour, take a look. If this is what we could do in 1 hour, and these are all the speakers that we have, imagine tomorrow. So we've got quite a lot on purpose because we know that there's tons of virtual conferences. And even if it's not a virtual conference, you could be easily distracted by, say, Netflix or YouTube. So we want to make sure that this is the most exciting tab that you're on. And so with that, we can switch this off. I would like to introduce our next speaker that is coming in. Her name is Cynthia. She's absolutely amazing. She started off her life as a business advisor in rural Mali. You got to talk to her about that and figure out how she went from rural Mali, working with shea butter producers, all the way to launching the US's largest publicly accessible innovation center in Chicago, which is amazing. She now is at EPFL. She's here to talk about Innosuisse, which is a partner for this event. But whether it's ideas, accessing capital, seeking mentorship, penetrating new markets, Cynthia is the person to go to. So for communications engagement at EPFL Innovation Park and talk about Innosuisse, Cynthia, over to you.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for having me here. I'm just sharing my screens. I hope you can see it now. So it's a pleasure to be here. I'm delighted to be here on behalf of EPFL Innovation Park, and to collaborate with Tech for Impact on this year's version of the showcase. As Ursula mentioned, we at EPFL and also EPFL Innovation Park are committed to innovation and impact innovation in particular. So I'm here to introduce you to a few programs and resources that we offer that are supported by Innosuisse on behalf of EPFL Innovation Park. So Innosuisse, as you may, a lot of people are known in Switzerland, is familiar. We have they offer 4 training modules for entrepreneurs to accompany in their idea development, all the way from idea to growth and scale stage. And these are free of cost training programs available all across Switzerland, in fact. We at EPFL Innovation Park implement modules 2 and 3, which is business concept training. I call this sort of the basic training course focused on further refining and validating the business idea, compose a team, develop a viable and sustainable business model. This module is designed for idea initiators, owners, researchers, and also faculty looking to commercialize their research or their technological business idea. Besides just the training courses that we implement on behalf of Innosuisse across 6 cities, actually in Western Switzerland, the course offers more than just training topics. Participants get the chance to access coaching sessions, connect with local innovation communities to continue their growth. They can tap into the resources of other organizations, programs that are there to support them in their cities to give continuation to that idea, as well as access to a wide network of technical and business specialists, in addition to our very vast alumni network. We've been doing this from the park for about 8 years or so. So we have a wide range of alumni who have gone on to develop their projects, launch their companies, fundraise, win awards, etc. So all participants have access to that network, which, as we know, we're here to network and connect as well. All of our training courses are implemented by a wide range of entrepreneurs, trainers, and coaches, specialists in their fields, whether it be technical or business, that help participants to understand how to validate their idea, go back to market strategy, fundraising, financial modeling, customer validation, tech transfer, as well as technological development. And in addition to that, as I mentioned, they get connected to about 40 plus senior professionals that are mentors as well along the way of the course, and also continuation, as Innosuisse also provides a training coaching program that participants can have access to continue the program. As I mentioned, we've been running this for since 2015. So we've supported a vast range of technological impact-oriented startups as well in across 6 cities in Switzerland. We've had over 380 projects developed, and about 80 of those have become startups that have gone on to grow and scale. This could not be implemented without the participation and collaboration of the major universities across Western Switzerland. You can see their logos below. So we basically collaborate with those universities to provide these resources for their students. The courses are mostly once per week after hours in the afternoon. So it's very easy for faculty, researchers, and current students, as well as professionals, to follow along. Some notable alumni, some of you may be familiar with these. Like I mentioned, these are two companies that have participated in the past. AgroSustain, which has gone on to raise $7.5 million, and has also been included in the top 100 startups. And Depoli, which has also been nominated or included in the top 100 startups that have gone on to grow their companies. These are two also very impact-oriented companies that are really interesting to track. So for those investors in the room, take a look. They're definitely on their growth path, and with the possibility of making a huge impact in society and the environment. Following that module, we have module 3, which is business creation for social impact entrepreneurs. So this is very oriented to everyone that has a business idea, has probably launched that startup. It's in the early stages of development, and it wants to go from idea to launch. The training is designed to support entrepreneurs with maximizing impact within the SDGs through the development of, again, impact assessment strategies, increase impact of the business model, and a solid founding strategy. So for those looking to move from, okay, I have an idea, I validated, I understand how the market entry is going to go, this is definitely your next step. This program has been running since 2018. We've had over 140 participants, 80 projects trained, and about a third of those have become startups. So they're still in the early stages of growth. Some notable alumni include Water Inception, which is targeting bringing water, clean water, to remote and drought areas. They're targeting refugee camps, actually. So they've installed one to help refugee camps access to safe and clean water. And EcoCook, which is the first sustainability consulting and certification program for the food industry. They've grown significantly in terms of creating a network of restaurants and food producers to shorten the value chain and to kind of bring transparency to ecological practices in the food industry. So if you're interested, for more information, Innosuisse, and here at EPFL Innovation Park, on behalf of Innosuisse, we offer a wide range of resources. I encourage you to check out our sites for either of the two modules, but also Innosuisse general website, which is, we're excited to partner for this event, to understand what other programs, such as business growth coaching and grant resources they have to offer to you. So as Dan mentioned, we're here to celebrate innovation focus on making impact, which is critical for our future, which is why it's so important to support, to train, to fund, and obviously to help scale. So this is something we're really passionate at EPFL Innovation Park. So we're going to hear some of the stories, the journeys of impact entrepreneurship, their innovative technologies, looking to positively transform major industries, as well as the challenges, opportunities, and lessons learned along the way. So I turn it back to Dan to give us some examples of some of those companies that are making transformative changes into our environment, into our lives, and making impact for the long sustainability. So thank you very much for having us, and we're delighted to be here.
Thank you so much, Cynthia. That was fantastic. What a great overview. Before we go to some of those case studies, Cynthia, we got a couple questions from the audience. Can you stick around to answer some of these?
Absolutely.
Excellent. So question is, do you need to be a student to participate in the Innosuisse programs?
That is a great question. Although it's geared for students, we do have some participants that are not part of the student, enroll in a student, but we do give priority to the students of the universities that we mentioned, because we're committed to helping those projects that initiate at universities to commercialize.
All right. We also have a question from Beatrice that says, do you have dedicated courses for impact entrepreneurs as well? She'd love to know more.
Absolutely. So module 3, as I mentioned, is completely focused on impact focused companies. So although this is second step to business concept, it is really what is going to help you develop the sustainability and impact aspects of your business. So all the training modules and the content that we deliver there is focused for you to understand how to do impact measuring, how to maximize impact, and how to also develop a sustainable funding strategy while not compromising the impact that companies are looking to make.
Excellent. Well, Cynthia, delighted to have you. Thank you so much. And congrats on all the incredible accomplishments so far. And hopefully some of our participants, our viewers will get involved. But for now, thank you.
Thank you.
Take care. All right. So next up here to join me for our first fireside chat. And as Cynthia mentioned, we do have some of those case studies of these beautiful, amazing programs happening at EPFL. I want to invite a wonderful dear friend, one of the most hardworking, meticulous, detail-oriented, but visionary individuals I know. She hails from Peru and now is in Switzerland. She speaks 5 languages. She is also award-winning in many different ways. And I found out earlier today that for fun, supposedly she researches mining. Don't ask me about that, but let's bring Ale up to our screen. Ale, come join me, please.
Hi, Dan. How are you? Good to see you.
It's wonderful to see you again. Really, you research mining as a pastime?
Well, not necessarily as a pastime, but it is my research topic. So it's quite interesting, definitely.
Excellent. Well, you're in charge of a lot of different things, including Tech for Impact. And Cynthia's already mentioned about some of these case studies that we're going to see. But just from the work that you've been doing at EPFL, a couple questions, 2 things to kick things off. Question number 1 is sustainability, the big buzzword that is bringing us here today. Do you find that being a growing core part of some of the entrepreneurial projects? Or are we still just at talking points right now that it's just like interesting, but it's not part of the actual mission of a startup?
Yeah, thank you for asking that. We actually do get this question nowadays a lot. It is not anymore just an added thing for students currently. We have diverse programs at EPFL now, as the one that Cynthia mentioned, but also at the VPI, we have a program that now it's very more known, which is the EPFL Changemakers program, for example, which is our short program designed for students, really to boost their entrepreneurial, sustainability, and leadership skills. So we actually go with them throughout the course of 12 weeks to kind of create their own projects, support them with workshops, with different resources. And there, the students, the only requisite that they need is to have an idea, right? But we see in the amount of students that they come with their ideas, about 85% of them are actually sustainability-driven projects. This means that either at the product that they're doing or the services that they are making, they are all sustainability related. So for many of them, it's not even an option to be, to have kind of like that added sustainability side. But for them, from the start, it has to be sustainable. It has to have a sustainability vision in it. For the rest of them who are not necessarily on that path, what we do with them, the type of work at the Changemakers, for example, is that we go through different concepts and they actually, start learning those skills and also realize, okay, maybe my product or service is not, focused on sustainability, but the way that I drive my business and that I drive my company and I set up my processes are indeed, following sustainability guidelines. So even in those cases, we see sustainability much more embedded into it. So this is the type of conversations we also have with our students, and we do this with the Changemakers, right? Like by doing these hands-on experiences, putting them out there, talking to experts, and having this type of conversations and debates with the community as well, is where we are seeing definitely a change moving. And what we want to support also as EPFL is that when we talk of entrepreneurship at EPFL, we also talk about sustainability. I mean, sustainability is now a key aspect of entrepreneurship at EPFL.
What is interesting about Changemakers and worth pointing out, because I know we have a lot of students who are watching as well, it's open to bachelors, masters, researchers, wherever you are, you're very welcome. And I know even last year when we had the first and only in-person gathering for Changemakers, there's no lack of ambition, right? Like we went for like, what are the biggest problems in the world and how can we start? Because that's how it's all a seed. And that's how it begins. How do we start taking ideas to reality? Now, you actually had the chance, Ale, to meet some of them over the last few days. Of course, you've been working with them for many months, but just recently you were chatting with them. I believe we've got some recordings of that. Who's the first person you had a chat with?
Yes, exactly. I got the chance to meet up with the students just a couple of days ago. So first, we're going to meet with a very dear student of us because she was part of one of our previous grant programs and now is also part of the accelerator. She's doing great. Her name is Fateme. I don't want to say more. So let's just go and see the video.
All right, let's do it.
Oh, hi everyone. So next up is Fateme. Fateme is the CEO of Limoo and also a master's student at EPFL. So come on, let's meet her. Hi, Ale. Hi, Fateme. I'm so excited to see you. I'm starving.
Let's go.
So what do we have here? What did you bring today for me?
And you have juje kebab is one of the most Persian, famous food. People love in my country.
Yes.
And this is the lubia pulao, which is vegetarian.
Yes. Okay.
Wow. And as you can see, your dish, you have carbohydrate, rice, vegetable, and protein, which is balanced. For me, it's the same.
Yeah, great.
We have the online platform that you can order the day before. And we work with professional chefs that they cook with the passion and love every morning for the customers. Yeah.
So this is Limoo, basically. You deliver food on site, fresh from professional chefs.
Yes, fresh, sustainable, and also, as you can see, for packaging.
Yes, that's true.
And social empowering, which is the main part of the Limoo, is about social aspect that we have.
So being an entrepreneur and a student, you're a student, right? A master's student. What challenges do you face, or what challenges have you overcome already?
Being a student at EPFL is so hard, and doing a business beside that make it much more harder. But this is the journey of being entrepreneur, and I choose it and I love it because every day I have challenge, I should face it, I should solve it. Besides, I have a study, and now I'm doing my master thesis at SHUV in the nutrition department to be related about what I'm doing right now. It's quite hard, but fun.
It's amazing. So what is one advice or a couple of advices that you could give for any student looking to be an entrepreneur also?
You should love to have challenge and solve it. And it's so amazing when you go through it and say, the part that give me the energy is Limoo for doing my study. And do not afraid, just do it. If you have some idea, just come and do it. And at EPFL we have lots of supports and people's help. And I encourage all the people to come to the world of the business.
Yeah, that's great. Yes, we're following your journey also at Tech for Impact and at VPI, super exciting. So that being said, let's eat because I'm starving.
Yeah,
thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right. How energetic and exciting, right? I loved her whole spirit about it. And actually, Linda says, great to listen to her journey. I think double trouble, right? We have another video to play as well. Who's this team?
Yes. Next up, we have the team of Hikane. These are a group of actually 5 students who are also developing a great solution for quite a different market. So I'm not going to say more. Let's go watch.
Let's watch it.
Oh, hi everyone. So next up, we have Hikane. Hikane is another young, innovative startup at EPFL, which is actually a team of students that got together to create a brilliant solution for blind and visually impaired people. Let's go meet them. Hi guys.
Hi, Ale.
Sorry to cut you. How are you?
Fine, and you?
Good, great. So I'm here to talk about a great young, innovative startup at EPFL, which is you. Could you tell me more about your project and what are you doing?
Of course, with pleasure. So we are Hikane, and we developed this device for blind and visually impaired people.
Okay.
We are trying to help them in their daily displacement and avoid all the accidents that happen to them.
When you are visually impaired and you use a white cane, you can only detect obstacles on the ground level. So if there is anything above this level, you will get hurt. and it happens very often, and they often have to go to the hospital for that kind of injuries.
Yeah, because the cane just only detects down here, but when something is here, I cannot see it.
Exactly. And so with a small device mounted on the handle of the white cane, they will be able to detect anything. So you have two LiDAR in the device. One will detect any obstacle on the belt level, and the other one for the head protection. And when there is any obstacle, there is an haptic feedback under the thumb, so a vibration. So the visually impaired people will know there is an obstacle in front of him, and he will just have to change his direction.
Wow, great. So what is the status now of the startup? Where are you at right now?
So right now, we are continuing to develop our prototype to give the best user experience to our future customer. And at the same time, we are developing the financial ground to start our company, and we are looking to find our first fundings.
Okay, yep, great. So that sounds super interesting. But you are all students, correct? And at the same time, you're entrepreneurs. What are the major challenges that you face as trying to do both?
Yeah, so we faced big challenges actually. So the first one is time management, because we are students at 100% and we are trying to be entrepreneurs at the 100% too. So yeah, that makes a lot of conflicts in our plannings.
So maybe what is one advice that you could give to new students who are thinking of starting their own ventures? What is something that you would recommend them?
So the most important advice would be to look for the things that are meant to help you. A school like EPFL has created a lot of structure, a lot of incubator, a lot of accelerator that are made to help a young startup to grow up, and also on the marketing communication aspect, but also on the prototyping part. There are many things, even in master, we didn't know about that are around EPFL that are helping us to do the prototype.
So you see ecosystem, right? Because you were part of Changemakers and you're part of Place, and you've gone to other prototyping facilities as well. So you really use everything.
Exactly.
Great. So that's super nice to hear from you, and it's good to catch up. We're gonna meet very soon, and I'm excited to hear everything that is coming next for Hikane.
Thank you very much.
I'm sorry, Dan, I don't think I can hear you.
Oh, here we are. We did that typical thing of being
Yeah.
muted. Can you believe that?
How
Every
often
Zoom
this
call.
year- How often this year you have to say, oh, I'm mute. I'm sorry.
Exactly. But what I was saying is we have two absolutely fantastic ideas. And I know this is only a small selection of a very large group. I want to combine some of the questions that are coming in here, some of the comments, and try to see, because we only have a few minutes here. So let's try to put these together. What do you think is one of the challenges and barriers for students entering into this? But also simultaneously, what do you think are some of the motivations? So let's put the two together, two parts of the same question.
Sure. So main challenges, as you know, both Fateme and the Hikane team have laid out. In general, students are quite curious, and they are quite, curious to try new things, and they're looking to start their projects. But a lot of times they don't know how to start. So they are at this phase of like uncertainty of like trying to determine, should I do something? Should I don't do it now? And as Fateme was saying, like she was highlighting, okay, you have an idea, just start now. You just have to go and do it. So we do see, and what we try to do is to try to give students a bit of support at the very beginning, but this is a challenge for them. So we have to actively almost campaign and, push them to say, this is the right time because you have to learn. Like there's never a right time to start learning. So just do it now. So big challenge on this side. Second is to realize also that, you have business skills that you need to learn. So business knowledge that, at EPFL, many students are now able to access through the different things we're starting to provide, but also skills. And you might not have all the skills at the beginning, and you might not have all the knowledge at the beginning, but that's also fine because you're going to learn. So we see with the students that are learning how to, not only about business models, but also how to manage a project, how to talk to users, how to present in public, how to do this type of interviews that we just saw. This is all a learning because being an entrepreneur entails this different knowledge and skills. So this is a challenge for them, but also, a motivating factor of them wanting to learn. And maybe to go into this, what is their big motivation? And I think in the interview, we definitely saw this is, the willingness and the passion to be committed to what they believe in. So they have this, both of the teams that we saw, they had this idea, they had this, dream to be able to produce something that they are really, really believe in, being it, the food service at Limoo, engaging migrant chefs into the cooking, but also on the Hikane, how to provide this service to visually impaired people. So they're very passionate in what they do, and this is their major motivation for being able to put up this type of schedules. I mean, being an EPFL student, as they said, it's not easy, but they're able to be a student, be an entrepreneur, attend, be part of an incubator or an accelerator, deliver everything they have to do, and passion and commitment is the main motivation we see, and this is how they actually get to learn all these skills and move forward. And we at EPFL and the VPI, this is exactly the type of support that we try to give them.
Absolutely. By the way, a lot of high praise online because I know, Ale, you and your team are part of those who check the criteria, validate, and figure out who, because it's a very competitive process to become one of the Changemakers or to be involved in any of your programs. But I'm just looking here at some of the comments that are coming in. Some good advice. People are saying, focus your energy on validating the customer pain. Nice startups. I hope we'll see more. We see here, amazing inclusive project for blind people. Bravo and good luck. We also have people who are asking about enrollment for prospective students. And I can see there's already some links coming up in there. Wow, inclusive design. And also someone said, Limoo is super tasty. I tried it the other day. So for those who maybe are like, ooh, I want to be part of this group. I want to be part of these initiatives, these programs. Where should they go next?
So definitely EPFL website is a good place to start, but you can actually Google, EPFL Changemakers if you're only starting in your journey. And that will lead you into, other programs like Accelerator. If you want to do your thesis on your startup, you want to look at, sustainable business workshops also, either from our partner, Innosuisse. But Google EPFL Changemakers, you will already find a lot of information. And if anything, you reach out and we will, send you where you need to go.
Excellent. Ale, thank you so much. It's lovely to see you again. And we'll say goodbye to you here.
Thank you, Dan. Bye.
All right. So let me bring to you our first fireside chat. We have two amazing people that I want to introduce to you. And so I want to introduce to you Olga, who is a postdoctoral researcher at the Laboratory for Functional Inorganic Materials. And let me also tell you about Wendy Queen. She has been named the Materials Monarch. So she is CNN's Talented 12. And she was awarded this as a rising star who's using chemical know-how to change the world. Two phenomenal ladies. So I'm going to take a seat back again. But I wanted to take a quick stretch break because there was a lot of good content there. So Wendy and Olga, can you join me on screen, please? There you are. It's lovely to see you both. Thank you for joining us here at Showcase 2030. I hope you're well. Olga, if it's okay, can I start with you, please? So first of all, it's good to have you. And Retreeva, right? That is the spin-off venture that you're working on. Can you tell us a little bit about Retreeva?
Hello, nice meeting you all, guys. In Retreeva, we are developing a novel adsorbents with a unique chemical structure. Put in a simple way, these are metal organic frameworks infused with polymers. Put together, these materials are able to selectively capture precious metal from extremely complex liquid mixtures, as well as they can decontaminate water. In a simple way, these are type of adsorbents which can be simply seen as a water pitcher filters, which can capture precious metals and put them back into production through recycling. We developed this technology in Wendy's lab, and we thought to bring this from the lab to market. in Retreeva, we will try to commercialize these sponges to capture precious metals and render the technology more circular than linear.
Okay. I know we will be talking about circular economy and some of these amazing, not just futuristic, but has to be present day business models. But before we go to Wendy, I want to have one more question for you, Olga. How do you describe the sustainable impact of Retreeva?
Sustainable impact of Retreeva is exactly in its recycling concept. We will retrieve all the precious metal which have been lost nowadays, and we will try to valorize it with this technology in order to afford chemical industry and metal industry being more circular.
Got it. Excellent. Thank you very much. Wendy, over to you. You are a researcher at EPFL, but this is also not your first entrepreneurial project. I have to ask, how on earth do you balance research and entrepreneurship? And I know there's a bunch of researchers who are watching as well. Please shed some insights on how you do both.
Well, if I can be honest, it's not a very easy process because our group is very focused on basic science. And you can imagine then when you start to focus on applied science, you begin to ask yourself very different questions related to materials engineering and things. And so I think as a professor, so that I can, maintain my research group and things, it's extremely important for me to have students and postdocs like Olga that want to take the technologies that are being developed in our laboratory to market. So this is, I think, the most important part in terms of balancing it, because she's now leading the entrepreneurial side of this project.
Super. I've got another question for you, and I also have a cheeky question for you, Wendy, so apologies in advance. But to our audience, the reason I've got the Stabler here is these are your questions coming in, so please drop them in. I'm watching constantly on Slido and would love to ask these two ladies any of the questions that you might have about the research they're doing. So here's my serious question, then my cheeky question. So serious question, Wendy. EPFL, you mentioned there about taking ideas from lab to market. What exactly is EPFL doing to help with that?
Well, I think that EPFL is helping on many levels. There's really a very strong entrepreneurial ecosystem here. There's a lot of funding that's available. So we've had, for instance, the Enable grant, which allowed us to build our first water filters to test for heavy metal extraction. We've had the Tech for Impact grant, which allowed us to scale our materials up and test on larger scales. We have the Inno grant that Olga's using to take her precious metal recovery system to market. And we've recently got a Tech for Dev grant, which is allowing us to develop cold boxes, basically to keep vaccines and food cold. And this is to be implemented in Mozambique. And so for this particular project, we have implementation partners like Essential Tech, as well as Solidarimed, which is a NPO here in Switzerland. And so that's another important component for a professor, is to have these types of implementation partners to help you keep your research kind of really very application relevant. Also, I can say that EPFL is an amazing place for training for students. I've had multiple students that have taken, for instance, the science to market courses and using the resources that Cynthia mentioned earlier. I think it's extremely important for researchers to kind of embed themselves in this entrepreneurial ecosystem, because there are a lot of questions that come up when you're taking things to market that honestly can't necessarily be answered with a purely research-based mindset. And so it's good to be surrounded by people that can really answer your questions.
So here's a cheeky question. Is it true that you wanted to be a professional baseball player when you were younger?
Actually, yes, it is entirely true. I started playing at age 5 and I played until 22. This is how I put myself through college. And I took a break, and now I'm playing in the Swiss League.
There we go. Yeah. Awesome. That's fantastic. Olga, we've got a question that's coming to you first. And the question is, the mining industry is one of the world's largest source of carbon emissions. How does Retreeva tackle this issue? Any thoughts on that?
With our sponge, we can value as much as, let's say with 1 gram of sponge, basically we can value and extract 1 gram of gold. So imagine it takes almost 4 tons of CO2 emission to extract 1 gram of gold from a mining site. This is how we are going to make climate impact useful for climate with our technology developed in Wendy's lab.
Excellent. And then for those of you, for those who are watching, Wendy or Olga, if they want to be a part of what you're working on, if they're interested in engaging in some way, where can they go? How can they get involved?
We will be very happy to be contacted via retrievaresourcemanagement.com or via our contact site on LinkedIn. And we are looking forward to be contacted by any industry which is currently losing their precious metals with the waste streams, as well as they deal with problem of water decontamination. We are interested to interface with investors because we will be looking for serious funding investment in perspective of 1 year from now. Also, we will be very keen to know about circular economy accelerators, which for sure exist, and the audience is present here today, as well as everyone else who is interested in our technology. We will always answer the questions and help understand how we will make a positive climate impact with our project.
Love it. Excellent. And Wendy, there's just high praise for you. Someone here has commented, being a great researcher as an entrepreneur is powerful. And we've got to agree with that. So Wendy and Olga, thank you so much for being a part of this. Thank you for joining us here. Take care. And so with that, we actually have our final lightning talk. Whoop, I'm cut off. There's a part of my body missing. I've been decapitated on live camera. So what we have now is a final talk. And this gentleman, I was talking to him earlier today, and he's like, you know what, Dan? I'm not one of these hardcore Elon wannabe workhorses sacrificing everything to build. What I love about him is he's found a way, he and his co-founder, to build a company culture that, I guess, supports, endorses, values, family, and just being human. And I love that. And he's an adventurer, a mountaineer, and so much more. And maybe some of that is what has inspired him to be the CEO at Bcomp, which is an award-winning leading supplier of sustainable lightweight solutions. It's created and entered lots of new markets, and now is about to already maybe in the large-scale automotive supplier. You know what? Better than me explaining to you what Bcomp is, let me bring Christian on. And by the way, we will take questions after this as well. So put your questions in Slido. And Christian, with that, over to you.
Thank you so much, Dan. Let me just share 2 slides with you guys, just to set a bit the space we're active in. Can you all see my screen? Seems like that. Okay, so first of all, Bcomp is we're now 10 years old, so we're not really a startup anymore, but rather a scale up. And we're in the what we call industrial high tech space. And a lot of people, when you talk about industrial high tech, you think, whoa, it's probably one of the lost spaces where circularity could work out. And we're still very petrol dependent because we use plastics and all that stuff. Now, let me know how actually, how wrong that is, and how I think even in our space, in this material/industrial high tech space, we do have a great potential to have a sustainable impact. So in essence, what we do is that we take a plant fiber as a feedstock for our material solution. Flax, you all know from the linen shirts you wear in summer when it's becoming hotter, like we have the heat we've had now in Switzerland for a couple of days. And instead of turning it into a home or fashion textile, we actually engineer that fiber, which has great intrinsic properties, into a composite reinforcement material. I'm not going to go into details of how it's working and what our secret sauce is to make it actually happen. But we get a product that is actually competitive with carbon fiber composites. So we the high performance benchmark that we know from motorsports, the motorsports sector. But we also have a very low cost and very efficient solution to actually replace plastic. For instance, in interior cars. You see here on the top right the typical structure of our material, different layers that are basically each of them are layers where the natural fiber, the flax fiber, is engineered in a different way to really meet the specs of the layer itself. We have developed a one-step process that's in line with the requirements of the large-scale automotive industry. And what we can target in terms of applications are pretty much everything you see in the interior of a car around you, be it door panels, be it the instrument panel, be it also what you see here, this beautiful seat back, this dark gray part in the middle here of Polestar, the Volvo sister you've probably all heard of, the full electric premium car, which we have had the great pleasure to collaborate with now for several months. And I use the case just to demonstrate the benefits of our solution. First of all, lightweighting, of course, in mobility has always been a key topic and has even increased now in importance with the electrification, the massive electrification trend we are experiencing now. We're cutting the eco footprint, so the embodied energy in terms of CO2 by 50% versus the plastic part. Noting also that now with partners we have in the pipeline a solution that in about 3-4 years from now will actually be a carbon trap. So we'll be able to propose to the market a material solution that's actually CO2 negative. And one thing also, we are all aware of the ocean plastic problematic. We cut up to 80% plastic versus a standard injection molded part as we know it from the car interior traditionally. That was pretty much it. I mean, you got the concept. You see also in terms of, so I show you the Polestar interior. It also works for exterior. You see on the right side a Porsche car. We have a great project collaboration with Porsche where we can basically replace all the body panels of a Porsche race car, and we're now working towards the road homologated cars within the framework of our so-called race to road strategy. And of course, with the ambition to have as great impact as possible. So we are right now in the middle of our scale-up process, working on about 20 OEM projects with car makers, really ranging from the full electric cars you all know to still the more what we call the veteran car makers, which also of course are now in transition towards electrification and towards a sustainable mobility. I hope that helped to get a bit of an idea of what we do. On that, Dan, if you want to have the fireside chat, I'm open to receive your questions and the ones from the public.
Absolutely. We do have a couple questions that are coming in. And so let me start with the first question that is here, which is, the project looks amazing. What is the biggest bottleneck for Bcomp right now?
I guess the biggest challenge clearly is the scale-up moment, right? A lot of people think that early stages is the time when you're most exposed, when you take the highest risks. However, now from my experience, having gone through all the stages of a startup, what happens now is that basically you need to jump into the cold water in the sense that we are now building factories, right? However, you don't have the purchase order on the table yet. Why? Because the car makers say, well, Christian, we've selected your technology, we've adopted your solution, but before we can actually purchase and order your material, you need to build a factory so we're sure that you can actually deliver according to what you promised. So I guess that's where I always I say to my team, it's a bit like a big kitchen in a great restaurant where you cannot start preparing the main course and the dessert once after having served the appetizer, right? You have to move on all fronts in parallel, which is quite scary because of course each and every single puzzle piece has an influence on the other one. So it's a balance act, but it's part of the adventure. We're enjoying it very much, and of course it comes with a deal of tension, but it's a great experience.
Well, I know that you are an EPFL spinoff. It makes us massively proud to see the incredible growth, the new markets that you're creating, entering the new markets, all the stuff that you're doing. It's absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much, Christian, for being a part of Showcase 2030, and we wish you the best.
Thank you very much, Dan. Thanks, everybody. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
All right. So with that, I've got about 60 seconds right now to tell you, our wonderful viewers, how you can best maximize the next couple hours. So first of all, on this platform, all around me, you can see agenda to figure out where you want to be tomorrow and for the rest of today. The networking areas and sections, please. I think Ursula started off by saying about serendipity. It can still happen virtually. So go out there and navigate. Make sure you have a complete profile. So if someone looks you up, they know exactly what you're about and you're linking them to your LinkedIn and other platforms that you want to send them to. So please network. We also have a virtual startup exhibition. So lots of great ideas, innovators who are waiting in their virtual booths to talk to you. And we would love for you to go and check them out. And finally, for the next 3 hours, we've got lots and lots of masterclasses. Everything from, can sustainable operations trigger competitive advantage? What about the value from circular business models? This concept we keep hearing about all the time. What about scaling? Can you scale without sacrificing impact, or is it one or the other? And of course, this whole space around impact investment. We have Q&As with actual impact investors, plus assessing the impact of tech solutions. That's only a little bit of a lot that we got. So for now, let me just say it's been a pleasure having you. Thank you so much for joining us for the past hour. I hope you enjoyed it. Tomorrow, we've got many, many more hours. So go learn, maximize these masterclasses. Do join them. And tomorrow, we'll see you first thing in the morning, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, and ready to go. Until then, for me, Dan Ram, and the rest of the EPFL team, thank you so much for making this your home. We'll see you tomorrow.